Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more Los Angeles Lakers news, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Not all players who are signed by the Lakers are successful or maintain a high level of play. Los Angeles is a famous and highly successful franchise, so fans are demanding and some players are unable to keep up with the Lakers' greatness. Others arrive in LA and quickly surprise and grow to become important players for the team, as is the case of Dorian Finney-Smith, who had an excellent season, but will be a free agent and the Lakers want to re-sign him, to form an excellent team to be champions next season. It has been announced, the Lakers will re-sign Dorian Finney-Smith, because he is important for the team's growth. The Los Angeles Lakers are entering the 2025 offseason with plenty of questions. Not only do they have to make upgrades to the roster that was overwhelmed by the Minnesota Timberwolves, but they also have to make sure they retain their contributors. One of those players is Dorian Finney-Smith. The veteran forward has a $15.3 million player option for the 2025-26 season and hasn't made a decision about what he is planning on doing. Regardless of his decision, the Lakers must keep the 32-year-old wing on the roster going forward. Lakers must re-sign Dorian Finney-Smith to a long-term extension. After the season he just had with the Lakers, the more likely scenario for Finney-Smith is to turn down his player option. Considering his age, this will be one of the last chances for DFS to have a big payday. Looking for a multi-year deal that pays him an 8-figure average salary would be smarter than playing on a one-year, $15.3 million deal. The former Mavericks forward was one of the underrated reasons for the Lakers' success this season. After his acquisition in December, Finney-Smith played a large role for LA, guarding bigger players, switching across multiple positions, and hitting 40% of his threes. He is the ideal 3-and-D type of player the Lakers need to put around Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. There are simply not too many two-way players on the Lakers roster right now. Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura were the only role players head coach J.J. Redick fully trusted in the postseason. In the playoffs, DFS increased his playing time to 34 minutes per game, closing that is why Los Angeles can't afford to let him walk in free agency, making retaining Finney-Smith a top offseason priority for GM Rob Pelinka. Other signings that could happen at the Lakers. Lakers being linked to 2 Eastern Conference centers entering offseason. The Los Angeles Lakers made Rudy Gobert look like Wilt Chamberlain in an eventual Game 5 elimination clash on Wednesday. Gobert, a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, has had an inconsistent playoff career. Although he's one of the league's best rim protectors and rebounders, his relative lack of mobility beyond the painted area has at times put a hard cap on his postseason usefulness. Teams with athletic, floor-spacing bigs, and/or teams with forwards who can play some small ball center, have often been able to solve Gobert in the postseason. But the Lakers, who lacked even a serviceable center this season following their trade of 5-time All-NBA superstar guard Luka Doncic, absolutely could not. In the Timberwolves series-clinching 103-96 Game 5 victory against Los Angeles, Gobert scored 27 points on 12 of 15 field goal attempts and 3 of 6 free throw shooting, pulled down 24 rebounds, and blocked 2 shots. For the series, the 32-year-old Frenchman finished with averages of 8.2 points on 57.1% shooting from the floor, 9.8 rebounds, 1.0 steals and 0.8 blocks. The Lakers' second straight first-round playoff loss to a team with a jumbo-sized frontcourt exposed the lie that Los Angeles as currently constructed is ready to compete for a title. It's time for the Lakers to replace the departure of Anthony Davis with a solid lob threat to pair with Doncic. In a fresh piece, Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report proposes 2 intriguing Eastern Conference center options the Lakers could try to acquire via trade: Toronto Raptors center Jakob Poeltl and Brooklyn Nets center Nicholas Claxton. One of the less heralded names that the Lakers should go after, Jakob Poeltl possesses a unique set of skills that could dramatically improve LA without costing it a ton of contracts and/or assets, Bailey writes. He's had an above-average defensive estimated plus-minus, one of the most trusted catch-all metrics in NBA front offices, in each of the last 6 seasons, with a peak at the 98th percentile in 2020-21. Poeltl is owed $58.5 million across the next 3 seasons, although he has a $19.5 million player option for 2026 to 27 should he want to make a change. His size, he's a legitimate 7-footer, instincts as a shot blocker and rebounding are all factors to contribute to that number and would make him a nice fit with the Lakers, Bailey adds. As Bailey notes, Poeltl is a better-than-average passer for his position. The 7-footer, 29, averaged 14.5 points on .627/.333/.674 shooting splits, 9.6 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.2 steals and 1.2 blocks across 57 contests for Toronto in 2024-25. But what really makes him interesting might be his offense, Bailey noted. Like just about any other big, he would benefit from playing with a high-end creator like Luka. Unlike plenty of others, he can also return the favor a bit by passing himself and generating extra possessions. Bailey submits that Claxton is an even more appetizing Lakers prospect. Some of Nicholas Claxton's advanced numbers have tumbled over the last couple years for bad Brooklyn Nets teams, but when he last played with stars, he looked like a rising star, Bailey observes. The 26-year-old is under team control through 2027-28. He's owed $69.4 million across the next 3 seasons. In 2022-23, a season in which the Nets got 40 appearances from Kyrie Irving and 39 from Kevin Durant, Claxton started 76 games, averaged 12.6 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks in under 30 minutes a night and shot a league-best 70.5% from the field, Bailey writes. That version of Claxton is just waiting to be reintroduced to the league, and Luka, and LeBron and Reeves, are exactly the kind of playmakers who can do that. Last year, Claxton averaged 10.3 points on 56.3% shooting from the floor and 51.3% shooting from the free throw line, 7.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1.4 blocks and 0.9 steals in 70 bouts, 62 starts. As Bailey notes, Claxton would theoretically serve as an intriguing pick-and-roll partner for Doncic, 21-time All-Star power forward LeBron James, and shooting guard Austin Reeves. Lakers projecting nothing but confidence about signing Luka Doncic to extension. According to Jake Fisher and Mark Stein, the Los Angeles Lakers are projecting nothing but confidence about signing Luka Doncic to an extension. Los Angeles can sign Doncic to a 4-year, $229 million contract in August. Doncic will make $46 million next season. He has a player option worth $48.9 million for the 2026-27 season. Doncic had dinner with Rob Pelinka and J.J. Redick on Saturday in Los Angeles. It should be noted that the Lakers are projecting nothing but confidence about securing Doncic's eventual signature on a contract extension, even as they're just beginning a 3-month wait for it, Fisher and Stein wrote. At an end-of-season news conference Thursday, Rich Paul calls out Lakers for not building title-contending team. Clutch sports agent Rich Paul issued a damning verdict on the Lakers roster, asserting that the team is far from contending for a title. Paul leads an agency that manages some of the best players in the NBA, most notably his lifelong friend, LeBron James. He is known for applying pressure on LeBron's teams if they are not making the necessary moves to compete for championships. The Lakers were eliminated from the playoffs in the first round, losing 4-1 to the Minnesota Timberwolves in a series that highlighted the team's lack of depth as a significant flaw. Lakers coach J.J. Redick infamously played his starters the entire second half of Game 4 after seemingly giving up on rotating players and believing that the starters, even if tired, provide the team the best chance to win. During an interview with Chris Haynes, Paul noted made his feeling on the Lakers roster very clear. I just really didn't think that the roster for the Lakers was anywhere close to a championship-type roster, you know? And that's not making excuses. It's just a fact, said Paul. And it's very hard to build a team for today and tomorrow. You've got to have assets. You've got to have cap flexibility. You've got to have draft capital. Before the end of the trade deadline, then Laker Anthony Davis had an interview with ESPN, in which he called for the team to trade for a center, as Davis preferred playing power forward. The team went ahead with the infamous Luka Doncic trade, which brought the Slovenian superstar to the organization as the new centerpiece of its future. General manager Rob Pelinka then attempted to trade for center Mark Williams and successfully reached an agreement, though the big man failed his medical examination, causing the trade to be cancelled. The addition of Williams would have given the team a proper starting center, but instead the team was forced to make do with Jackson Hayes, though the team would pay for that later in the season. The Lakers' best lineup in the plays featured Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Austin Reeves. Other rotation players who would see minutes include Gabe Vincent, Jared Vanderbilt, and Jordan Goodwin in brief appearances. Jackson Hayes was given plenty of chances to play, but he struggled to match the physicality of the Wolves. Redick determined that the team was better off lacking size rather than giving their only viable center minutes. Pelinka is well aware of the team's lack of depth, and he will be under the microscope this summer to ensure the team can build a better roster. LeBron and Rich Paul will likely be watching to see what moves are made, especially since LeBron will become a free agent this summer. Luka Doncic, JJ Redick and Rob Pelinka meet for dinner. After a disappointing 5-game series loss in their first-round playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Los Angeles Lakers head into this offseason needing to upgrade their roster. The franchise has its superstar to build around in Luka Doncic, but now the pressure will be on general manager Rob Pelinka to make the necessary changes. Of course, it is important for the Lakers to be on one accord, and that starts at the top and down to Pelinka and head coach JJ Redick. But the Lakers have always been a franchise that keeps its superstars in the loop with everything, and that will be no different with Doncic. In fact, it looks as if they are already doing exactly that, as Doncic, Redick and Pelinka were seen leaving a dinner together over the weekend, and there's little doubt they were discussing some off-season plans, via Lakers All Day Every Day on X. The Lakers' off-season needs are pretty clear following their playoff loss, as the team is in dire need of a true big man who can protect the rim and clear the glass. That was obvious in the immediate aftermath of the Doncic trade, which is why Pelinka agreed to a trade for Charlotte Hornets center Mark Williams not long after. Of course, that trade was ultimately rescinded, so the Lakers are still in the market for a big, and that is likely to be their top priority. Adding overall depth and shooting will also likely be prioritized, as, when push came to shove, Redick really only trusted 7 players, and that lack of depth hurt the Lakers against a young, athletic, and deep Timberwolves squad. The question now is how the Lakers go about making these improvements. The team still has a first-round pick and a couple of intriguing young pieces if they prefer a trade, but they are limited in terms of salary cap space, and they don't own their 2025 first-round pick. Whatever the case may be, Pelinka, Redick and Doncic seem to be on one accord, which is extremely important going forward. Luka Doncic, all Lakers need to improve this offseason. Rob Pelinka needs to acquire the right players to improve this team, and JJ Redick will have to get the most out of them, but the players themselves have to put in the work themselves to get better this summer, and Luka Doncic feels every player on this roster must do exactly that. There's obviously a lot of different things I can do, he said. Obviously everybody has got to get better. We're gonna have a long summer and should focus on how we can improve as a team, as individuals. Rich Paul believes the 2025 Lakers with LeBron and Luka didn't have a championship roster. Rich Paul thinks the Lakers roster wasn't even close to being good enough to win a title. The Los Angeles Lakers fell short of expectations in the 2025 playoffs, losing in 5 games in the first round to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That was quite disappointing for a team that was touted as a contender entering the playoffs, but LeBron James' agent and CEO of Clutch Sports Group, Rich Paul, stated on Haynes Briefs that this roster wasn't even close to being good enough to win it all. I just really didn't think that the roster for the Lakers was anywhere close to a championship-type roster, Paul said. And that's not making excuses. It's just a fact. And it's very hard to build a team for today and tomorrow. To say the Lakers roster wasn't anywhere close might be a stretch. Sure, it had flaws, and you had reasons to believe they won't win it all, but they were the 3rd seed in the Western Conference with a 50-32 record. The main concern when it came to the Lakers after they traded for Doncic was the lack of a starting caliber big man. They seemed to have addressed that by acquiring Mark Williams, but later rescinded the trade due to medical concerns. The Lakers' title chances were somewhat written off post the trade deadline, but the team didn't really miss a beat despite Jackson Hayes being the starter. That led to a belief that perhaps they could really win it all. The series against the Timberwolves showed, though, that the Lakers desperately needed a quality big man. Head coach J.J. Redick had no trust whatsoever in Hayes, who averaged 7.6 minutes per game in the series, while the small ball lineups didn't prove to be effective either. The closeout Game 5 would see the Lakers' biggest issues exposed for the whole world to see. The much-maligned Rudy Gobert had the greatest game of his playoff career that night, finishing with 27 points, 12 to 15 FG, 24 rebounds, and 2 blocks. The Lakers ended up allowing 50.0 points in the paint per game in the series, the fourth most in these playoffs. They kept allowing easy shots at the rim, and that's not a recipe for success.